help me with the microphone?
Yeah.
A couple notes, because I have kind of a complex question to ask you. Kind of a complex question, so. I've donated to architects and engineers for 911Truth.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I've told a lot of my family members about them, shared the blueprint for 911Truth presentation. So I have a really important question for you, and kind of requires some background info, so please excuse me.
You have about 60 seconds.
Okay. Well, basically my name is Abraham Davis Rodriguez. I'm a medical student here in Peoria at the University of Illinois College of Medicine. I studied at the University of Illinois, got a bachelor's degree in biology. Basically, I supported this organization and I'm a big fan of it. But I found out there was all this evidence that you weren't talking about. There's evidence such as the New York City seismographic data, the University of Alaska magnetometer data, the New York Police Department forensic study that found only one file cabinet of the thousands. The rest of them were missing. And the one remaining file cabinet showed severe metal distortion, almost like it had been warped in some way. The undamaged bathtub beneath World Trade Center, the trains that were down there, the PATH trains, all this information that's easily verifiable. And I was wondering why you weren't talking about it, and I was really concerned, and I only mentioned a couple of things. There are hundreds and hundreds of things, and so I wanted to message you and see if you had heard of them. And because the scientist that found all this information is also a scientist like you, her name is Dr. Judy Wood. She's a PhD scientist, got her degree in materials science engineering from Virginia Polytechnic Institute. I thought you would really want to know about this. So
Yeah, this is really important.
So
let me
so
address the issue.
I
There
didn't
is a
ask my
whole...
question though.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, basically, I found out that she took legal action too
What's the
with all this
question?
information, and so I sent you the question in an email if you had heard about any of this evidence and why you weren't
I
talking
have
about
heard
it.
about it.
But you banned me from your petition. You never responded to my email. I
Oh,
silently.
what's your name again?
Abraham Davis Rodriguez.
Oh, hi, Abraham.
I was
Right,
silently
what's the
banned.
question now, and I'll answer it.
Okay. Well, basically, because I was silently banned from your petition for that one email, never heard back from you. My question is kind of it's 4 in 1. So, Mr. Gage, why don't you mention any of the large sum of very important empirical evidence from 9/11
Let's take
on
it
your
one at a
website
time.
or in the presentations?
Let's take it one at a time. Let's start with that one, okay?
Sure.
I'm not trying to cut you off. I'm trying to give them the information I think they need, which is a clear, honest response to your questions. There's a whole lot of evidence and very weird things that happen at the World Trade Center. Okay, there are about 10,000 file cabinets that are missing. There's about 20,000 floor trusses and 220 acres of metal decking that's missing. The question is, where did it go? Some people believe that there's a fine, incredibly fine distribution of explosives that would be responsible for the turning into small metal filings, which we find in the World Trade Center dust. Small metal filings, which could account for the file cabinets, the 220 acres of metal decking. And so that's one possibility. Others have posited other possibilities, such as what Abraham was talking about with advanced weapons.
I didn't say anything of the sort.
Well, it's a possibility that Judy Woods is advanced, so I'm just mentioning. Is that okay? Give her just a minute.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's because it's important to respond to. Now, we don't know much about weapons that we don't know much about, right? They're not. We don't have the understanding of what else might be available, given that it's not public information. So what we do at Architects and Engineers for 911Truth is present in the limited time that we have the most solid scientific forensic data that we can give you, that you can take to the American people, your friends, neighbors, colleagues, architects, engineers, government officials, and media representatives, and that they won't think you are a kook. Okay, this is solid evidence that we present. Now, I'm not going to present every piece of evidence out there that I can't explain. What good does that do me or you? What's your next question?
My next question is, why did you take all this smoking gun evidence, such as the thermite that's supposedly peer-reviewed? Why did you never file that in a court of law? Yet Dr. Judy Wood took all the evidence, just a brief sum of that I mentioned.
I'm an
And
architect.
she filed that in a court of law,
Okay.
and it went all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court in October of 2009. So
Okay. And what
why
happened?
have you never filed this evidence in a court of law to pursue NIST
Well,
and the
it's-
people that engaged with NIST in the conflict of interest relationship to use our tax dollars for those phony 9/11
This
investigations?
is an important discussion. I'm just trying to kind of carry it along so others have an opportunity, and I don't want to cut you short. I'm not an attorney.
There's just one more part.
I'm not an attorney. We're architects and engineers. We have produced the evidence. It's available for you to file it, to do whatever you want with it, make it happen. I'm working 80 hours a week, harder than I've ever worked in my life. I'm managing a large organization of 40 volunteers with almost no funding, and I don't have time to sleep, much less file lawsuits. I don't even know how to do that. No attorneys have come forward yet and said, here, I want to take your stuff to court. And I would say, please do it, for goodness sakes. Next question.
Okay, last part. I just want to know, do you ban all your members that just message you sharing evidence, asking? I honestly want to know.
Be quiet.
Let him talk.
Sit down.
Let him talk.
I'll answer your question.
Let him talk.
So now Abraham was banned because he put on his profile information which we find confuses and distracts people from the evidence that we believe is most solid. We don't want every theory out there on our website in people's profiles. So we do censor the profiles. So that's what's
I
going
was
on there.
completely banned. And I just wanted to say, if anyone really wants an investigation, please read this book. It is the most important book I've ever read in my entire life. And just take it for yourself and please just read it.
Thanks, Abraham.
From Where Do the Towers Go by Dr. Judy Wood, please. Like, we're all on the same team.
Appreciate that very much. Next question? Right here.
Can we talk about? Can we talk while you clean up?
No, I can't concentrate on two things. But come have a beer with me.
I just want to know. I have purchased DVDs from you. I've purchased flyers and handed them out. I have donated money. It's totaled to over $100. And all I did was email you to see if you knew about this evidence. I thought I was helping. I thought maybe Richard Gage doesn't know about all this stuff. You know, maybe it will be on the Architects and Engineers and 911Truth site the next day if I just message it to him. And I know you're busy, so it's okay that you didn't reply, but I was silently banned from your petition. And then I started telling people.
Do you really want to talk about this?
I really want to know.
Okay, then let's have a beer and let's talk about it.
But
You need to get out. I can't.
I'm not slowing them down. I'm not slowing them
No,
down.
I can't think. This is a deep subject. It requires memory and concentration. So does this. Because this is
Sure.
chaos, and it requires my memory, my concentration. So, are you going to be willing to have a beer with me or not?
I have a lot of studying to do, and I thought that I'd. How about, can I just ask you the question in the parking lot? You said you'd stay till all questions were answered.
Yeah. No, but we can't. We were supposed to be out of here at 9 o'clock. Now it's almost 10:30. We got to go. We really.
What
got
if
to
we
get
were
out of
like?
here.
What if we just go to the parking lot?
You could go outside, but I think he'd like to go down, sit downtown. You know, if that's the plan.
Well, I just want to know
Other people
why I
are
was
waiting.
banned for trying to help. I just
I
tried
don't
to
think you
help.
were trying to help, Adam.
I
I think
specifically.
you were trying to move your agenda forward, and I wasn't interested in it. And that's why you ended up being...
Anything you guys need?
I'll let go.
But I emailed you shortly after I heard about her. I didn't even know. Like I said, I thought that maybe you just didn't know about her. I thought maybe the worst case scenario.
Isn't it conceivable to you that our agendas are on different pages and we should just part ways?
I don't have an agenda, sir. I thought I was helping. I was a member, and I thought, maybe he just doesn't know about
An
this.
agenda. The agenda was Judy Woods. We're not being aided by your agenda.
Oh, you know what?
Sir,
Do you know if they got the banner off of the front door yet?
We got it.
But it gets folded up and put into the green suitcase.
You guys got it?
Sir, my email to you just said, do you know about this? Do you know about the Alaska
I don't think it was
magnetometer
that
data?
simple.
Yes, it was.
I don't think it
I was
was.
naive. I thought maybe he hasn't heard about this stuff.
What do you want now?
I just want to know why I want a good answer for why you silently banned me just for sharing evidence. This was before I even knew if she was right, which it seems she is.
Because Judy Wood's material is easily discredited in the eyes of a mindless public who can't even believe their own eyes.
Why wasn't I explaining? Why didn't he send me an email back saying that then? Why would he just ban me? So I get banned? He has the time to ban me but not say...
You rubbed me the wrong way.
So you banned me?
You're pushing an agenda, which
I was not. Today I came with an agenda to expose what I feel is the second layer of the 9/11 cover-up. Dr. Stephen Jones worked for Los Alamos Laboratories, the same place where the atomic bomb was developed.
Mr. Gage, I just want to say thank you very much for everything you've done, and thank you very much for going to Peoria. I was so excited when you got here, and I had to tell everybody, put up flyers and everything, so I just thank you for your work. And I would go to Ben again, but I just did work in the morning, so I would go to Ben again, but...
Oh, but you can't?
I go to work in the morning, so...
I hope somebody's still there when we get...
There might be, but I don't know if the service will be great.
Well, can I ask all three of you one question then? When thermite cuts out the steel and you have all this steel falling, it's going to make a big rumble when it hits the ground. So how come the seismographic data that you don't present...
Why would it rumble if it's liquid?
It doesn't melt all the steel. Remember you said you cut it out, cutter charges, right? So as the steel's falling, it hits the ground, it makes a big vibration.
And hit the other buildings on the other side of the street.
This is mainly for you, sir. How come the seismographic data from New York City...
I don't understand the seismographic data. I haven't studied it. You know, there's a lot of people that use the seismographic data to say that the towers came down due to controlled demolition. And there's a lot of people that use it to say that it didn't come down by controlled demolition, but by gravitational collapse. I don't know. It's very confusing. I'm an architect, not a seismologist.
Sure. But it's very simple to understand that a smaller building that was controlled demolition, that should leave a smaller rumble on the ground than a bigger building that's also controlled demolition.
I don't think it's as simple as you're painting it to be.
Okay.
Have you seen the paper? And I haven't read it, but there is one. Seismic proof that 9/11 was an inside job. Have you seen that one?
Is it a book?
No,
or an
it's
article?
a peer-reviewed paper in the Journal of 9/11 Studies.
Okay.
.com. And so, you know, it has a different perspective than what you're talking about.
Well, how does thermite and falling debris account for example, cars being mangled, over 1,000 of them, over up to a fourth a mile away from ground zero?
I don't know what accounts for that.
Well, why wouldn't you mention those things?
Because it's not evidence that leads people to get motivated to talk to other people to get a real investigation. We've got solid evidence that has answers as to why this phenomena, the destruction of the towers, was produced.
Okay.
The evidence for cars mangled doesn't go anywhere.
I can walk with you too while we're going.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
The evidence for this unusual phenomena does not have answers that we understand.
Sure.
People, the public cannot do anything with it.
Okay.
I'm presenting the scientific forensic evidence that is rock solid that will get us an investigation.
Sure, and I understand.
I'm not raising more questions than I'm asking.
I understand why you wouldn't want to raise more questions, but just when I asked you a question in an email, why would you ban me for doing that when you could just say, hey, Abraham,
because you have an agenda that you're pushing that's not helping our cause.
Today I came with an agenda to talk about evidence, but I did not have an agenda when I emailed you. I asked you a question in that email. It was an innocent, harmless question.
I think I answered your question, Adam.
You did. And my name's Abraham.
Abraham, I'm sorry.
Well, thank you very much.